G'day, my name's Keaton and I'm a salesman here at OzAG Machinery in Ballarat, and today we're going to run you through our new product, the Pasture Pro. We've combined the APV Air Seeder range with our proven performance of the ILGI Aragon Speed Disc range. So there's a few things to know when creating the Pasture Pro. The first thing is you're going to select what air seeder you want on it, and that's either going to be a 300, a 500 or possibly an 800 or 1600 litre model. So the first thing is you're going to choose your hopper, your hopper size. The next thing is you're going to choose your fan type. Your fan type is either electric plus or hydraulic. Your electric is up to about 3.5 kilograms a minute of flow. Your electric plus is about 8 kilograms, and once you go to that hydraulic, it's 14 kilograms of flow. As soon as you bump up into those 800 and 1600 litre hoppers, those outputs go directly to a hydraulic fan, and you're going to be looking at about 30 kilograms per minute that it's capable of doing. After that, you're going to choose your metering roller. So these come in fine seeds, larger seeds. There's a few different options to choose with your metering roller. We'll go into that and why it's important in a second. So the next thing you're going to choose is your controller. The standard controller is your 5.2 controller. It's the most common one we sell. It's nice and popular, easy to use. There's plenty of videos on our website or on YouTube if you want to go and have a look at them. Or you can give us a call and we can talk to you about that as well. The other controller is the ISO bus compatible controller. So this one plugs straight into the back of your tractor. You don't need a speed input, you simply need to have an ISO compatible screen, whereas the 5.2 controller, you will need a speed input, whether it's a ground speed sensor, whether it's a GPS receiver that we plug in, or input into the tractor somehow, if your tractor's got a compatible plug. So why is it important to select the right metering roller? It's important to select the right metering roller because depending on what you're doing, we need to have that metering roller at about 50% of its working capacity. So that means that you can either slow down or speed up by 50%, and then that machine will account for that change in speed and it'll adjust the flow, which will always keep that desired rate coming out the back. Sometimes it's quite difficult if you're doing a low rate with a narrow width machine and you're also doing a low speed. Sometimes it is hard to get that to 50%, but even at 20, 30, 40%, you've still got that flexibility to slow down a little bit and speed up a little bit to account for that change in speed and keep that target rate coming out the back. So why is it important to select the right fan? There's a number of reasons. The first reason being is if you have a really big heavy seed, you may need a bigger fan to push that seed through the hose. The next reason is you may have a wider machine than this one here. You could be going 6, 7, 8 metres. So then you're going to need to look at the hydraulic options to push that seed, to have more force to push it through the pipes. That's why it's important to select the right fan. Without that, you're not going to have an accurate seeding program. So that's the air seeder side of things sorted with the Pasture Pro. Now we're going to move on to the tillage side of things. So this is on one of our ILGI Aragon 3.5 metre speed discs. And what we're going to run you around today is the adjustment and how you would set this up when you're in your paddock. So once it's clipped onto your tractor, the first thing you're going to do is figure out the depth that you need to achieve. This is done by a number of ways, the rear roller and the front linkage. So the front linkage here is going to be clipped onto your tractor. So that front gang of discs is going to be adjusted from that linkage on your tractor. And if we come around the back here, you'll see this rear roller is connected to this hydraulic ram, which has also got these ram stops. So you're going to want to try and match that depth on the front. Say you're going in 2 inches, you may stick this out a little bit more and fill this up with ram stops and then suck that hydraulic ram back in. Maybe 200 millimetres of ram stops might achieve a couple of inches. It really depends on your soil, your moisture levels. There's a lot of factors that come into it. So once you're happy with your depth and you've done a few test passes, what we would then do is we'd come around the front. So you're happy with your depth, you've adjusted the front, you've adjusted the back, you've set your lower linkage limit on your tractor, and you're pretty happy with that. We're doing a test pass in the paddock, and what we would do, we would move all that freshly tilled dirt out of the road to make sure that it's a nice, even, flat pass and there's no ridges. So once you've done that, and you've done a test pass, you've moved all the dirt out of the road, and there's a couple of ridges in there, which can happen sometimes. 99% of the time, these things are set up pretty right from the factory, but there's a few external factors that we don't allow for. It's really sticky, sort of moistury clay. It may stick to the discs a little bit, which is going to probably affect how it's digging. So if that's the case, what we would do is we would loosen these two bolts here, and there's two corresponding bolts over there, and there's a spanner here to adjust this arm. And what that does, that moves this front gang of disc laterally so that we can line this point of contact on the front disc directly in the middle of those discs in the back. And you'll notice that that rear gang of discs doesn't move, that's rigid at all times. It's only these front ones that move. And that's how we set up the Pasture Pro.